Okay. So what you do in the past can affect your future in a good and bad way. An example of a bad way would be, let's say you commit a crime, you get sent to jail. And then when you get out of jail, you have to find a job, you have to try to get your life all back together. That could be hard because you're now known as like a murderer or something. You can't really make a name for yourself anymore. And then an example of the stories would be Winter Dream when Judy, like, is young. She has like all these like guys, lovers, and then in like her future, then she marries somebody who kind of does the thing to her. She doesn't he doesn't stay with just her. He has other girls too. And then if in the past, if she had it like went around with a bunch of other guys, she just stayed with one, she would have had a happy life instead of what she has now. And then a good way would be the way the past can affect the future. Say you have a job, and then your boss gives you a really important task, and you complete it, and you're successful at it. Then the boss will give you a bonus or promotion, and that could get you higher in your career. And then, for example, from the Great Gatsby, where Gatsby saved Dan Cody's yacht, and then Dan Cody mentors him and teaches him how to be successful. And Gatsby's future, when he's rich and famous and all that, he says, well, he's the most, he's, he's rewarded for what he's done in the past. And I believe that Fitzgerald would agree with this quote because it shows us. Okay, so people believe that one will be rewarded in their future for the hard work and good that they do in their present. So what one does in their life will either affect them positively or negatively in their future. Like a real life example would be if you have a test coming up and you know you have to study. If you study for it, then you'll probably come out with a good grade on the test. And if you don't study for it and go like watch TV or do something else other than study, then you probably won't get as good of a grade as if you had studied. So if you work hard for something, then you'll most likely be rewarded with something good for it. And if you don't work hard, then you won't be rewarded. An example of something good that happened in The Great Gatsby is that Gatsby, he worked pretty much all his life after Daisy left to be able to meet up with her again and have everything be the way it was. And so a quote is, it was a strange coincidence, I said, but it wasn't a coincidence at all. Gatsby had bought that house to have Daisy just across the bay. So Gatsby, he finally got what he wanted, and he worked really hard and planned everything out to where Daisy and him would meet up again and fall in love, and that worked out. And so after all of his hard work, he got rewarded with what he wanted. An example from Winter Dreams that shows how one's past will negatively affect their future is how Judy, she's young and she's pretty and she like all the men want her and they all love her, and she goes around and she hangs out with all these different guys, and she's always out. She's never like at home. She's always doing whatever she wants. And so then towards the end of the story, Dexter is talking to Delvin and she's saying Delvin is telling him how Judy's not as beautiful anymore and she's married and she has kids and she's not the same as she used to be because now she stays at home with her kids and she's not as, I guess, interesting as she used to be when she was younger and prettier, when really she's the same person. She just doesn't, she's not allowed to go do what she used to. And now Judy stays home and she's with her kids and she doesn't go out. And so her husband, he's doing what she used to do and he's always out and he's always with other women and he's never really home. And so that shows that what Judy used to do in her past is now coming back to her with her husband, making her feel how she made all the other men that she hung out with feel. And so I do think that Fitzgerald would agree that a person's past affects their future, either negatively or positively, depending on what you did, because he shows this in many of his can be a positive effect or it can be a negative effect. It depends. It really depends on the person and how their personality is. For example, if someone has had a bad childhood, or if they have had a negative event happen to that person, they will be stuck in the past and they won't be able to continue on with their life in a positive way. Uh, if they're very close-minded, then they're just going to be thinking of like the negative, and they won't be open to new things or ideas that can make them happy. For example, Dexter is so in love with Judy that he can't let her go. Like, he just can't get over her. It really doesn't matter what Judy does, if it's something good or bad, he'll still stay in love with her. But he can't let her go. Dexter is rich and has a lot of fame, but he isn't going to be content with his life if he doesn't have Judy in it. So he should just like move on with it. If someone has had a positive past, their lives will most likely be a success. If someone tries hard in school and goes to college, they'll receive a good major in something, and they will be really successful. They'll be famous, or maybe they'll be famous. So just no one in the novel The Great Gatsby has had a positive background because they became successful in a bad way. But also, I believe that Fitzgerald would agree with the quote stated by the Buddhist because he states that in order to be successful, everyone starts off small and they become large. But it is all in a matter of time and patience in order to get to where you want to be. Okay, I believe people are who they are due to their past experiences, education, and their environment. For example, if a person works hard in school, they will most likely be successful in the future. When it comes to personal experiences, people make decisions based off those experiences that can help them move forward by projecting their decisions into the future. But sometimes the things people feel about themselves stay with them throughout their lives. And some of these could be like, I'm not good enough, or I make bad decisions, or people don't like me. People imagine themselves to be that same failure in the future, which can also help them to do better in life if they make the right decisions. Experiences can be lessons that can positively or negatively affect who they become as a person in the future. The people that take advantage of the mistakes they made and fix them will most likely have a better future than those who did not. If people become aware of these negative events, they can positively influence their own personal outcomes in order to be successful in the future. I believe Fitzgerald would agree with God hidden part because he wrote stories and novels that some based on the jazz age and his life, like The Great Gatsby, because he most likely based his life off of The Great Gatsby, and he's seen as Gatsby in the story, which helped him reach fame.
Okay, so I believe that a person's past has a great influence on their future success. One of the main reasons is because you gain knowledge from your past. It helps you prepare you for the future. So whether it's good or bad, whatever like past experiences you have, it benefits you in the future. For example, like as a child, you are taught a certain way, and that helps you to prepare for the future. Like what your parents teach you helps you to prepare for the future, and that's an example of how your past influence to, helps you your success in the future. In some cases, if you do good actions, good will your if you do good actions, fortune will come your way eventually in the future. However, if you were to commit crimes, then you would have karma and it would catch up to you eventually. Um, I would think Fitzgerald would agree with Harma's statement because throughout The Great Gatsby, it reflects off of the past and like how Gatsby wishes to be with Daisy, but not in the way that they are present in the book, more in the past, how they were in love and all that. So he wishes to have that again with Daisy. And yeah.
The quote, if we should be blessed by some great reward, such as fame or fortune, it's the fruit of the seed planted in the past. This quote describes America during the time period that The Great Gatsby and Winter Dream are written. It's a time period where America is obsessed with becoming rich, which essentially now is the American dream, which is to become rich and be successful. Um, a person's past has a tremendous amount of impact on their future. The only difference is that some people can take an experience and make it positive, while other people are just so stuck in the past that they can't seem to be able to move forward in their future. In Gatsby, for example, Gatsby is so obsessed with the Daisy that he met when they were young and when they, during the summertime that now that years have gone by, he can't acknowledge that the Daisy that he once knew and once loved isn't the same anymore, and that the love that they had is unreachable. It doesn't exist anymore. Um, Jack, Dexter in Winter Dreams, though, he works hard and he leaves from being a caddy and he becomes rich for himself. And he works hard to be successful for himself. While Gatsby, on the other hand, um, everything he does with Daisy on his mind. He became rich for Daisy. He bought the house across the bay of Daisy's house to be close to Daisy. And the only difference is that with Gatsby, his past didn't lead him to have the success that he wants. He has money, he has fame, but what he truly wants is unreachable, which is Daisy's love. And yes, I believe that Fitzgerald would agree with this quote because yes, what you do in your past affects your future, but you can be rewarded with fame and fortune, but it doesn't necessarily always make you happy.